I just don't know where to hit my attack.
I feel like I'm stuck at the net and I don't know what to do.
Now I'm stuck at the net and we can't seem to rotate.
These situations, along with many others, is why mixed doubles is such a tactical game. So in this video, we're going to try and make it as simple as possible and break down exactly what you should and shouldn't do when attacking in mixed doubles. As we said in last week's mixed doubles serve and return video, we're going to make a generalisation at the start so we don't have to keep repeating ourselves. And this is that, generally, the woman is physically weaker than the man. And what we mean by this is that we're not quite as quick or powerful, and this explains some of the tactics behind mixed doubles. One tactic is that the man will usually take the back of the court when attacking, with the woman at the front. So let's start by discussing what the man should be covering and also what shots he should be playing.
So, looking at this court graphic, the man should generally be covering this area here. However, this might change depending on what shots you play. So what shots should you play? Well, if you're not in a really good position, then the main focus should be keeping control of the rally. And to do this, you need to use a variety of attacking shots. And this will help you in two ways. Firstly, it will make your opponents feel really uncomfortable in their defence. If they don't know whether to be ready for a drop, slice, clear, high smash or steep smash, then they'll likely be later to reach your shot and in a worse position as a result. This might mean they make a mistake or play a loose shot so that you can finish the rally. And I just listed a load of different shots there, but what actually is the right shot to play?
Well, that depends on your opponent's strengths and weaknesses, but also your partner's. One of the main jobs for the man in mixed is to set up the woman at the net, which is the second way that using variety from the rear court will help you win a lot of matches. So here are a few examples on how to do this, including one shot that Greg does so well it almost always catches our opponents out. Firstly, if you're both right-handed and your strength as the woman is your forehand side, then the man should focus a lot of his shots straight down the tramline from his forehand corner like this. If it's a good quality shot, it's really difficult for your opponents to turn this cross. This means that the woman would move over to cover the forehand, ready for the interception in what's called a channel attack. Even if they try to play a cross-court shot here, the woman should still be able to intercept, as long as your shot as the man is good. So at this point in the video, it's really important to mention that you as the man should never try to hit a smash with 100% power if you're not in a good position. This might be that you're taking it right on the back line, or you're not there quite early enough and you're playing it off balance.
Yeah, and you might think that you can smash from anywhere and still win the point. And yeah, you might be right. It might work against the people you currently play against. But if you want to improve and get to that next level where people have better defence, then you'll need to vary your attack. Instead, you can use slices which help you keep the attack and hopefully set your partner up at the net. A lot of the time in mixed doubles, the defenders are sat back like this, waiting for the hard smash. So hitting slices that land just after the service line means that your opponents are reaching down to take the shot and only able to hit it in an upwards direction.
And it's a great tactic to use against tall opponents too, as it takes them longer to reach down there. So, what's your shot that almost always catches the opponents out?
It sounds so simple, but it's a clear. As the man, when you're in a really threatening position from the back of the court, the woman is often 100% sure that you're going to play a smash or a drop shot, and therefore she's slightly leaning forwards with her body weight. And this small detail is why the occasional punch clear is so effective. It's a great shot to play cross-court to the woman, or even straight if that's where she is. And it's especially great if the woman doesn't like to move very much. But remember, if you don't look like you're about to play a smash, then the punch clear won't be as effective. Or if it's done at the wrong time or with poor execution, then it could end up in disaster. And it's important to note that using your variety effectively is also heavily reliant on spotting weaknesses in your opponents.
Exactly. So for example, if you can see that your opponent defends in a completely forehand grip, then smashing across their body means they'll struggle to generate any power or even get it back. Another example could be that the man stands quite close to the middle in his defence, so there's space to smash down the tramline.
And when you're in a good position, you have lots of options. You can smash straight down the line, to the middle, cross-court, or you can also smash to the right hip of your opponent if they're right-handed, and the left hip if they're left-handed, as that's a really awkward area for anyone to defend. If you don't have the biggest smash, remember to use variety as we've mentioned. And lastly, it might be obvious, but attack on the player with weaker defence.
Okay, so there were some examples of what the man should play from the rear court. But as we mentioned before, he should really be covering all of this area, which includes the mid-court too. And there are definitely a few things the man shouldn't do from here.
Yeah, and the first one is, no matter how tempting it might be, hitting hard from below the height of the net is not a good idea. This is because your opponents will be able to see that you're taking it late and get their rackets and bodies into an aggressive position and be able to easily put you and your partner under a lot of pressure. Instead, you should try and play a quality shot that's tight to the net and lands around here or even a bit deeper to make the woman move laterally across the front of the court.
That's nice. Cross court.
But if you're really late, then you might lift out. And we'll talk about defence more on next week's video, but do remember that you should lift out with height to the side you're standing on to allow your woman to move back into a defensive position.
Now, if the man is taking the mid-court shot from above the height of the net, then this is where he has lots of options. And I'd personally say this is one of Greg's best areas in his mixed game, so I'll let him explain a bit further.
So from this position, you have the advantage because, again, you look threatening and like you can play any shot to anywhere on the court. And like the rear court, what shots you choose to play should depend on your strengths and also your partner's strengths. So for example, if your partner is really good at brushing or killing net shots, then playing soft mid-court shots like this means your opponents can only really play a net shot or lift the shuttle back to you. However, if you both prefer a flat and fast game, then driving these mid-court shots means your opponents are more likely to drive it straight back at you. Just make sure you're both ready for this. A third effective shot from the mid-court is a deceptive shot, but that's quite advanced, so maybe we'll save that tutorial for another day.
Okay, so let's move on to what the woman should do in this preferred formation. And we're going to tackle this section by answering your most common questions. The first one is, where should the woman stand when the man is attacking from the back? Well, there's 3 important things to start. Firstly, as the woman, you shouldn't be stood too close to the net, otherwise you won't be able to intercept or reach anything that goes past the service line. Remember, the man's area is this, and not all of this.
Secondly, you should have your racket up looking threatening. Keep a slight bend in your arm though, because otherwise you'll need to bend it before playing your shot to generate any power. So not having it already bent wastes time. Being in this position, you want to make your opponents feel like there's no space at the front of the court.
Yes, and you can't do this if you're ducking at the net, which is what we see a lot of women do. So this is our third tip. If I'm your opponent, look at how much space I can see on the court if the woman is ducking. Compared to now, there instantly looks like there's less space on the court for me to hit into.
Okay, next question. Should the woman remain here on the court, or should she change her position? Well, yes. So if the man isn't in a good position like this, then she should stand further back, ready to cover the other side if necessary. And because the woman is a bit further over, covering the cross, then any straight pushes are the man's shot. Again, if the man is in a good position and smashes down the tram line, then you as the woman would come over and take this side in a channel attack. This is, however, assuming the lift isn't short, in which case the man should look to move forwards after playing his shot to apply more pressure and hopefully finish the rally. Now, if the man smashes down the middle from a good position, then the opponents are more likely to play cross, so you might need to quickly recognise this and slightly adjust your positioning. And as we mentioned on our How to Read the Game video, linked up here somewhere if you want to watch that after this, you also need to quickly analyse your opponent's body and racket positioning to anticipate where they're likely to hit their next shot.
Next question. How does the woman know which shots to leave for the man and which to try and intercept?
And I just want to say here that the woman has an incredibly difficult job in mixed, especially when they're stood so close to the net and trusting the man behind them to play good quality shots, which he definitely doesn't always do. And you only have a split second to react.
One way to help with this, and this will take some practice, is to listen to the sound of the shot that your man hits. Let me explain that a bit further. If you hear a loud smash off the strings, you would stay back because it's more likely for your opponents to hit a hard shot back to you. But if you hear your partner hit a quieter shot, like a drop shot, then you'd move closer to the net, as from this position, your opponents can only really play a net shot or a lift. But how would you practice this? It might seem a bit silly, but try playing some open rallies, and every time your partner is about to hit their shot, he shouts what shot he's about to hit. You can then listen to the sound of this and adjust your position accordingly. Here's an example.
One of the most common questions we had about mixed doubles attack was, how does a woman not get stuck at the net, and should she ever come out to help the man? Well, firstly, don't start getting impatient and look back to see what's going on. As well as risking losing your head, you also won't be able to see what your opponents are doing, which is really important. And that kind of answers this question. Try and judge what they're about to play and be big at the net and try and get involved at the right time. So yeah, the woman should come out.
Yeah, be brave and go for things. It's so much easier for the man at the rear court to know which shots to cover if you're making moves. Plus, by making these moves, you'll continually learn about what's right and maybe what you shouldn't go for in the future. And if he's not playing the right shots to set you up, or he keeps getting you both in trouble, then tell him.
Okay, so as a mixed partnership, you're not always going to be in your preferred formation. Maybe the woman has been flicked or cleared, or maybe the man was in trouble, so the woman has moved out to help him.
Or maybe the woman is just confident at the back. We're definitely seeing women take the back a lot more in top-level mixed, and this is often an effective formation. But what should the woman do when she's at the back? Our recommendation would be to hit patiently with around 70 to 80% power, focusing on your shot placement, so hitting to awkward areas. And I'm emphasising the word patiently because you don't want to get bored of hitting these shots. Wait for your opponents to try and create something, and this is where your man at the front should be ready. And similar to what we said for the man at the back, hitting with 100% power when you're both not in a good position means you can easily get whipped. And I just mentioned shot placement. Men can be dangerous at the net, so you need to try and be hitting shots to set him up. Here's a couple of scenarios for you to try out. You could use a channel attack like this, where the woman attacks down the straight line and the man looks for the straight reply. The woman can then come round the man to take the other half of the court, and they're in this side-by-side formation. Another scenario is when the woman hits slightly across the middle line, so the man can intercept the cross-court shot like this. Of course, the woman can always clear it out, ideally to the other woman to get them in their non-preferred formation. And if she clears back, then you could instantly shout to your man to come round and take this, and you move forwards. Again, it's all about making those clear moves.
Exactly, and when the woman is at the back, it's really important for the man to remain calm at the net. He should be a big presence and not feel like he has to rotate after the first shot. Forcing the rotation at the wrong time is what creates confusion and big gaps on the court. And a simple way to practice this rotation is by the woman starting at the back with the defending pair lifting, and then you have the aim of getting the woman to the front at the right time after playing the right shot. But what happens if the woman isn't confident from the back of the court? Here we'd recommend one simple tactic. The woman playing one shot from the rear court and then moving forwards towards the net, no exceptions. This way the man instantly knows that he has to cover the rear court as soon as she's played that shot. We'd recommend this to be a downward shot to the middle if there's no one stood there. And this is to reduce the angles. But again, there's no right or wrong, and it's really dependent on what position both you and your opponents are in.
We've talked a lot throughout this video about keeping the attack, but sometimes you might be really late to the shuttle and need to lift it out and go back into a defensive position. And from this defensive position, you can either try and force mistakes from your opponent or turn the defence back into attack. There are several ways of doing this, all of which we'll be discussing in next week's video, along with who should take what shots in defence and where should the woman stand.
Last week we asked anyone that watched to the end of the video to leave a racket emoji. So if you're still with us, please leave a brain emoji, as hopefully you've learnt a lot. And also thanks for helping the YouTube algorithm. If you enjoyed this video, then you might also enjoy our mixed doubles serve and return video, or if you're watching this 1 week later, you might also enjoy our mixed doubles defence video here. That's it for this one. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give it a like below. Smash that subscribe button if you haven't already, and we'll see you either in the comments or on another video very soon.